Yeah, it's white noise.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. I just was asking Carley if she could hear the fan because, again, I'm in the closet as per usual and it gets hot in here. So I've got a fan on to kind of give me a fresh breeze. And she said it sounds like white noise. So hopefully you can all fall asleep to the sound of my voice, my second alto, first tenor voice, and white noise. And hopefully it'll soothe your soul. Oh, I just got a
You just gave yourself a thumbs up. Do you remember last week how I talked about a girl named Hannah Alonso a little bit?
Yes.
Like a YouTuber that I listen to. She gets people all the time telling her, like, don't take this the wrong way, but I fall asleep to your videos all the time. Like, I put you on to fall asleep. And she's like, I'm not offended. And I laugh because I'm one of those people. I'm like, oh, I got to go to sleep. I got to turn something on. And hers is one, like, her voice doesn't bug me, so I just turn on and fall asleep.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
So if people fall asleep to us, it won't offend us.
Yeah, it really doesn't. You know what's funny though? I actually love green noise. And then I have and then there's
What is
brown
green noise?
Oh, it's so much better than white noise. White noise is just like static and it's like loud.
Well, I've heard
obnoxious.
White and pink and brown, but I've never heard of green.
Green noise is just like this deep, like mesmerizing sound that I can actually fall asleep to because I usually fall asleep in silence, but I don't like white noise anymore. I'll take brown noise over white and I'll take green noise above them all. So if you are a mom out there, you have a hard time sleeping or whatever, you need your kids to relax, try green noise. It's kind of this, I don't want to say monstrous, but it's like a deep, it really is, it's a mesmerizing sound. So
I'll have to try it because my kids need something to fall asleep. It's the ADHD in them.
yeah.
But okay, did you want to restart the podcast and open it with the new name that you have chosen?
Well, a lot of has happened in a week. It's kind of my nature, and you know this, to just like if I feel something or come up with an idea, I like hit the ground running and sprinting, and I'm just like, let's do this because I'm one of those people that feels like if I'm not doing something productive, then I'm not, you know, I'm not doing something right. I feel like, and it's not true, but I feel like if the more productive that I am, the more blessed I will be, or the more God is proud of me. It's just not the case, and it's not true, but that's how I feel. So,
Right.
and I feel like, we hear all the time that the Lord loves effort, and if I'm putting as much effort into whatever I think is going to be successful, then I will be blessed for it.
Well, how about this one? How about this one, Julie? Preparation precedes power.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I'll take it.
It is not I was trying to explain this to one of my kids the other day. God is not a do this or something bad will happen. This is not, if Julie doesn't run on all cylinders all the time, something bad is going to be happening. You're not going to be blessed. He's not going to love you. That's not it at all. He'll love you no matter what. Remember that, is it Tamarunya Talk who talks about how your worth never changes? She held two hands up in conference. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And one, as she said different things, like you made different choices, one arm goes up and down, but the other arm stays the same, meaning your worth is always the same, right? Yeah. So what you're trying, I think what I hear you saying is like your worth never changes, but you feel like you need to be running on all cylinders.
Yes,
to feel worthy of that. But
and part of that's
I will say
ADHD.
You got to give yourself a break. Yeah. But also you have 8 kids and you're a single mom, so you feel like you have to use every freaking minute.
Yes, I do. I mean, and I've been binge listening to Elder Larry Corbridge, who I guess is a member of the 70. I didn't even know that. I tune out when it's the 70s. Like I tune out when it's the women. It's so bad. I just like the apostles and that's about it. I don't know why, but I tune. Maybe
I wonder if it's literally their voices, Julie. Because
it could be.
I feel like I just appreciate the male voice better.
I can't handle it. Oh man, yes, I do too. And there's something about apostles, right? We all have our favorite apostles and the ones that give these amazing talks. But so yes, Elder Corbridge is a member of the 70, and I hope I don't lose my train of thought, or I hope I don't lose where I'm trying to go with this. But I sent this podcast to you where he talks about being in the 90s and 80s and 90s, this frenzy or this like trend of everything being positive and high self-esteem. Everybody
like the self-worth trend, right?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. And the participation trophy, everybody gets a ribbon just for participating. And everyone has, of course he's not talking about your value and your individual worth, as we call it. He talks about how there's this frenzy on self-esteem and how everyone's a winner and everyone is amazing and you can do anything you want and you are good just as you are. And that's all, like, and then it just, they were trying to build this society of unstoppable kids that just can conquer the world, but it also just breeds this environment of, I guess, as he states in the scriptures, King Benjamin in the Book of Mormon reminds us that we are, of the dust. And he talks about our nothingness. And he talks about how we, are unprofitable servants and we always will be. And that it's God that lends us breath and life. And he's the reason our heart is beating. And so don't assume that you're just this amazing thing when really, like, we're nothing. And help me
Well, I
get back to
think
where I was going, because I don't know how I got into that. But yes, I feel like I have to be productive. I feel like I have to be doing something when, yes, I have my individual worth and nothing can take that away. But this "you are a 10" crap, it's crap.
I
We have
think that
to
you're
like work for
scarred
that.
from you're scarred. Maybe the generation you're
Keep that
talking
mic
about,
in your
it was
mouth.
like,
You're super soft.
oh, is it not close enough?
I
Can you
don't
hear me now?
know. Maybe the little puff thing does help because it's a little bit soft.
Really?
Unless it's right by your mouth. Anyway, go ahead.
I can take it away and just do my laptop speaker.
No, it sounds
Or
better with it.
okay. But maybe the culminating thing of that era, that generation, is the manifesting era, right? Where everybody can just manifest this stuff. But I
Oh,
think what you're talking about is this like fake pride that leads to like fake pride and fake confidence. It doesn't come because you've accomplished hard things. It comes because people tell you you're wonderful. My father-in-law likes to talk about how he just thought, the sun rose and set with him and he was just the most awesome guy on the planet until he left his hometown, and then he found out that actually he's not. But he was the youngest by over a decade in his family, and they just adored him. His older sister just loved him. He just
he could
thought,
do no
everybody.
wrong.
Yes, but then
Yeah.
he's like, but then I went to school and he did med school and he did all of these things and he had to do hard things. But if you have this false sense of pride and this false sense of ability, it is actually harder for people, right? Like, it's good to know that at your core you have this individual worth and that people love you and they believe in you. But you have to know that, like, you can do all things through Jesus.
Yes.
That things are. I had a professor once that said, he didn't like that the Lord will never give you anything that you can't handle. He's like, that's a lie. God
Yeah.
gives you stuff you can't handle all the time. He
So that
gives
you'll turn to
he will
him.
exactly, he will never give you anything you can't do without him. And that's the whole point, right? And so I think what you're talking about is this idea of living with somebody who believed in manifesting, and you're like, no, 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 no. Like, actually, you have to do the work, and you have to be emotionally resilient and a hard worker and all of that. And we kind of lost the plot there. So I think that's why you're scarred and you feel those things. So
Yes.
you're like, I have to. And now you're also forced, I think, to run
Yeah.
on all cylinders.
Yeah.
You don't have the luxury of rest.
No. I mean, and when I hate for this always to go back to him, but when he left, right, I was like, well, crap, what do I do? Couldn't get a job because I had 3 babies at home. And if I got a job, it was going to be something that I could just grab quick and fast. Just hurry and grab this because I need something and I need it now because I need to have money coming in, but it wasn't like worth the $10 an hour job. It was just not worth it. And
Yeah.
so I have gone from one thing to the next, and I'm so annoyed with myself. I've been annoyed with myself. Like, okay, I've gone from, vlogging, which I'm still doing, right? And content creating and podcasting, but gone from the Gritty Mamas community, which I'm going to bring back eventually, and gone to dog sitting and digital real estate. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm trying something new. And it's not necessarily new. It's all kind of culminating into something, I think. I hope that that's what it's doing. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wasting my time. But I know that God gives you, which I can't stand about him, and I'm gonna have a conversation with him when I die. But like this little by little line upon online crap, tired of it. But it's little by little that he's kind of helping me set the foundation or the bricks to this empire that I truly want to build, not just like financially, but like of my own life and my own success story. And So I want to believe that dog sitting, right, and getting desperate enough to dog sit 1,000 dogs, and then reaching a point of no return, like, I cannot keep doing this, but if I keep doing this, I'll just stay right here because it's safe and I can keep watching all these animals, but also hating it at the same time. But if I stop, then I'm forced to find something else. If I stay in it and I get comfortable, which I think so many of us do, then I will just stay there and not progress. And then I'm just kind of mediocre, and I never want to be someone that settles for that, even though I did. That's a terrible dig. Anyway,
You know how you're always talking about how you're drowning, that's one of the phrases, I'm drowning. Well,
yeah,
I keep having this like image in my head of you just like Titanic is sinking. It's sunk now. Titanic, it's sunk, right? And so
it's
now there's
rusted. We've got like muscles or
it's at
whatever
the
they call them.
bottom of the ocean and it's rusted. So here the Titanic is at the bottom of the ocean. And what you've been doing, what you're describing is like you grabbed whatever rubble you could grab onto at the time. And as you become number and more desperate to stay alive, you're swimming towards people and bigger debris so that you can build the next ship that you have to build with the people you need to build them. And so I think that that's what you're seeing is, it sucks that you had to grab onto the tiny little floating, chair or whatever it was, but it got you to the door, that got
Yeah.
you to the bed frame, that
Yes.
got you, you know what I mean? Like imagine just like you have to give yourself so much more credit because you found the next thing and you didn't freeze to death and your kids are there with you and you are finding the life raft. And when you get there, you're going to have the ability to find those who were in your spot. You're going to be able to have the eagle eye looking for the tiny debris with the struggling woman on it that you can grab along with you and put in the life raft because you have been trained in that place to do that thing.
I
And
love
so
that. It's a great
I,
metaphor.
I think you're not drowning anymore. I think you are just reaching for your next life raft that's going to save you and other people along with you. And that's your goal really, is to not save just yourself, but to save as many women and suffering children as you can.
That's right. And pretty soon it's gonna be a yacht. You just watch. Speaking of yachts, I'm going on a cruise here in a little bit with my 8 kiddos to celebrate our survival, quite honestly. And thanks to the sale of my Bernedoodles puppies, I had a conversation with my lawyer. There's a lot of people who have ripped on me for taking this trip. Like, who does she think she is? Why is she doing this when she can't afford it? She whines and complains all the time about drowning and, oh, she's so poor and she just got fee waivers and she just got reduced lunch and blah, blah. Oh, but she's going on a cruise. Well, yeah, I made this money from selling my puppies, and I sent a message to my lawyer who I owe so much money to. And I said, Steve, I just want you to know I'm using this money to take these kids on a cruise. Um, and a cruise, honestly, was the easiest thing to do because it's food all the time and it's activities all the time. And I had cruise credit from COVID when we had a booked the week before the world shut down. So I used that cruise credit. So anyway, getting a deal for all those people that think I'm being a brat by going. But I said, I'm going to take this trip. If you don't mind, I don't want you to see me on a cruise and then be like, oh, sure, she can't pay me, but she's on a cruise. But I did give him my entire tax return. So I felt like that was the responsible thing to do and be like, I'm going to take this cruise, but I'll give you my whole tax return, which was like a whopping $5,000. It wasn't a lot, at least for how much we have to pay out, right? But so that's coming up and that's off topic and we can talk about that later. But that's another reason we're podcasting right now. It's 6:25 p.m. on a Saturday. I'm not like yawning to death yet. And we're trying to get this out so that you guys can have something to listen to because I will say, and then we'll get back on track. I received a message this week. This is quite big news if you say so. Do you remember what number we are ranked in like
Oh my gosh, it was like 72 or something.
no, 74, baby. We are
74
ranked 74 in like weekly
personal
journal,
diaries or something.
something like that. Yes. And I will take it for the amount of like I would say for the amount of work, even though it's not a ton of work because we're in the closet and there's not a ton of editing, but we've been consistent. and you guys have loved it and appreciated it, and you've listened and you've commented, and
Except for the ones that say, Julie, you don't need Carley. It's so much better without her.
baloney. I know you guys all want to hear the juice, and if I gave it all to you, like in one podcast, then you wouldn't come back. It's like a way to keep you coming back, giving you little tidbits at a time because I'm trying to build something. So back to the building. I am good. Did you hear that transition? I should be like a news anchor.
We'll just call you Brett Cooper, man.
Why,
Way to
who's
go.
that? What does he do?
Oh, she's a
Brett
she
Cooper
used to be on the Daily Wire. People said that she looked like Ben Shapiro or whatever, but she has like severed ties with them, and she is so much better for it. And she ran a it was on their channel, but what do you call it? Like a podcast or she had clips every week that were 15, 20 minutes. It was called the comment section, something like that. Anyway, she comments more on like Hollywood and some politics and things like that. And she like moved out to a farm with her husband and had a baby. She's young. She's like 23 or something. But her transitions for her sponsors are like very well known because she's pretty good at it. So anyway, talk about a sidetrack.
Yes, but that, it's the transitions. I'm pretty dang good at the transitions if I think hard enough and I'm witty. It's because it's early. It's not 10 o'clock at night, and I'm sharp. I'm more with it at the moment. But so we all know that I've tried out digital real estate, and then, I was connecting homeowners with business owners. And so I would set up a website, like a free basic website with tree service on it. And then I would put out a bunch of ads. And then I had customers calling me to get tree service, thinking that I was doing the tree service when really I'm just kind of the third party that refers them to the real business owner. And anyway, so I was getting into that, and I worked hard on that for like a month and a half, 2 months. And then, more and more, I'm like, gosh, I'm just like building up other people's businesses. I need to be building up my own.
Let's pause for a second because in the middle of this, I have an uncle who is a business attorney. And when I told him what Julie was up to, he was like, there might be some things that she has to worry about in that industry. And I was like, Julie, I don't feel good about it. I don't think you should do it. And Julie was like hell, I feel really good about it. The fire's under my feet and I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll support you. But like, I'm a little bit worried about these things, right? But do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I was just like,
she was worried about me doing false advertising, which I can understand. Well, but there's a clause that you're supposed to put on the website that says, I'm a third party. I don't do the actual service. I just refer clients to the business owner.
There's some things that you can do within there to protect yourself, but there's still ways to get into trouble. Yeah. And people who make a lot of money at it still end up coming out of the business because it's not worth the headache of the lawyers and all the things. You might have done great and not had to worry about any of it, but there are people whose entire occupations are finding people who are doing what you were doing or trying to do and undoing it and making your money off of you, if that makes sense. Because there's
that's me holding on to, not even a life raft at the time. It's me holding on to a branch in the ocean trying to save myself.
This is what I think it is. This is why I wanted to bring it up, is because I think when the time was ready for you to say, actually, I don't want to do this, you had this thing in the back of my head from my Uncle Doug saying this could be a little bit whatever, but you still felt the fire, you still listened to the spirit. And I'm glad that you did, because what you're learning is you learned all those skills that you were going to put into use doing that. And now you're going to apply them to your own business. The reason why you felt the fire, the reason why you felt inspired to do it was never, in my opinion, to do what you thought you were intending to do. Does that make sense? Like, you listen to the spirit and you are learning these skills that are so valuable and so useful that you wouldn't have been driven to learn any other way, right? Like,
yeah, I agree, because
it motivated you.
I don't look back on it and be like, oh, what a wasted time, what a wasted money. Of course, no, because it sparked the idea, like I said last week, in starting my own freaking agency. Because in digital real estate, he actually calls it, you're building your own agency of contractors. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to build my own agency of not contractors in a different way, right? Speakers, performers, experts, musicians, because I have background in it, doing it for the petitioner, signing contracts, making contracts, mailing and emailing contracts, and getting bookings and booking flights and communicating with the event person and making sure everything's running smoothly. And I enjoyed it. And everybody always says, Julie, you should coach. Julie, you should do speaking engagements yourself. And maybe someday I will do some speaking thing.
Heck yeah, you can.
But I've never been like, I want to be a keynote speaker. I just never thought that. I just, maybe someday I will have the opportunity, but maybe that's because right now I need to develop the skill of doing it for other people so that I can have that business to then be the engine for paying it forward for the Gritty Mamas and the women trapped in family court. So
there's a million reasons why.
Yeah.
That you'll find out along the way.
Hopefully, to help myself. I mean, I look at it and I'm like, because I get vulnerable and I get personal here, and I hope you guys don't mind, but my patriarchal blessing says, probably like everyone's, if I put the kingdom of God first and its righteousness, that everything will fall into place, that I'll be blessed, in the land. I'll be blessed financially as long as I put the kingdom of God first. And I'm like, well, does that mean that I just like stop everything and just go proselyte? You know what I mean? Like, of course not. But like, where do I draw the line here? And I'm like, well, and what apostles were lawyers, apostles were businessmen. Yep. So I'm like, it's fine, because I start to get very literal.
Right. And that's what I was gonna say. And what does like everything working out look like? Do you remember I've talked to you guys, speaking of vulnerability, about my miscarriage, right? I started here, this might be TMI, I don't know, but I started bleeding at 13 weeks. And by 15 weeks, when it hadn't stopped, I went and got an ultrasound, and they were like, oh, everything looks good. It just looks like the baby is developing a little slower, so you must be off on your date. And I was like, I don't think so, because at my 12-week ultrasound, or my 12-week appointment, they had to go get what do you call that thing where they hear the heartbeat? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, like that thing. They had tried that and they couldn't get the heartbeat. So then they had to go get an ultrasound, and like, oh, the baby's just measuring at 10 weeks, 2 days. And then at 15 weeks, it was like, oh, it's just measuring at 13 weeks. Like, it was progressing slower and slower over time. So when I got to my 20-week appointment and there was no heartbeat, like, I wasn't like shocked, because I was suspicious the whole time. But the reason why I was happy and not as worried and like going about my day-to-day and all of that throughout the pregnancy is because I felt like Heavenly Father would tell me it would all be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Well, when I miscarried, how is that everything's gonna be okay?
Right.
That was not, that like comfort from Heavenly Father was not, you won't experience anything hard. It was that it will be okay. Like, I will recover. My family will recover. That experience was used for my benefit. I have been able to connect with so many women and have so many meaningful interactions and conversations and help women that I could not have helped any other way than going through that experience.
Exactly.
And so like, everything is okay. Look at me. I have 4 kids. I'm happy. My husband and I are still married, all those things, but we still had that hard thing that we went through. So sometimes that's what happens,
And I'm jumping the gun here, but like, I talked to someone this week that said to me, because I kind of explained the whole story and what I wanted to do. He's just a contact that can hopefully help me in this endeavor. But he said, our mess becomes the message. And I was like, I love that. You know what I mean? And same thing with my dog's trying to get into the door. And so she's flipping the handles, if you can hear that loud noise. But if you think about the word testimony, like, well, what are the first 4 letters in the word testimony, right?
Yep.
Test. It's a test, and you now have a testimony. There's a mess there in your message. You can't have a message without it being a mess first. Like, there's no message unless you've been through something. And I remember someone close to me, after this whole mess, speaking of, when he left, and I was like literally abandoned with 8 kids and not knowing how to make ends meet. He said he went to the temple and asked, the Lord, how should I help her? I'm just texting Xander to come and get these dogs because they're whining and I can't focus. But he said, but I got a distinct answer from God that you were going to be just fine. And I was like, great. Like, that's not helpful right now to tell me that I'm going to be just fine. I mean, I'm drowning and suffering. And I also felt like it was a reason or an excuse for this person or others to be like, you'll be fine. If anybody can do it, you can. You're stronger than you think. And then they bail and leave you on your own because they had revelation that you'll be fine. But you're like, I didn't get that.
It's like a very little use to me. Please
Yeah,
don't say that.
I know.
I mean, ultimately,
So,
it will be fine because I will die and be with God again. And yeah, I'll be
right.
fine. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
Totally.
not, I know.
Totally. So is something I've struggled with. But since last week, since I talked about this idea, well, maybe if I did, I just went for it, and I got a website going. It's called, obviously it's a play on words. I don't want it to be too redundant, but I called it the GRITROCK, the agency. So GRITROCK is actually a word. It's not like a play on words, and it has the word grit in it, and it has the word rock in it. So there's strength and foundation and working hard and being diligent and
Being gritty.
yeah, exactly. And I thought that was cool for both men and women. It's not like, come join the Julie Jeppson agency. Nobody wants to say
Yeah.
that. You can be
This is a
proud of it.
more, I think the look that you're going for is a more masculine,
Yes.
gender neutral look.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can you hear the whining from my dog?
Oh, yeah.
You can? Is it that bad? Okay. I'm gonna make a call with you guys live on the because he's not answering. Because heaven forbid I podcast in the middle of the day and I can do it in peace. But anyway, they're all in school except for Saturdays, and I don't know if this happens for you, but on Saturdays for me, they still get up earlier than they would during the week, and it drives me
What?
insane. Do your kids do that?
Sometimes. It depends. It depends on, like, I feel like the longer school goes, the more that happens. But because this summer they've been sleeping in
It's so
longer,
annoying. Okay, you
ugh.
guys can see my legs. Sorry. I can't take it
They're
anymore.
nice toned legs.
Well, there's farmer tanned legs with a stain on them. I can't handle the whining anymore. Anyway, as I was saying, and she has to.
Yeah, pull that mic closer.
I know yours has been soft too. There, can you hear me? Is that better?
I don't know what to do at mine because it is like almost
Yeah, it
touching my
is right
lips.
now. Technical problems here, people. But all this to say, I made a website. I made a roster. I did the same strategy that I learned in digital real estate and I kind of didn't even ask people. I just put them on it. And I figure if I get a gig for them and it's a $10,000 or a $50,000 speaking gig, I don't need to ask permission for them to be on the roster. I just call them and say, do you want this gig? And if they say yes, I say, great, I'll book it for you. And if not, I move on to the next person. And that's exactly what I learned with doing, this real estate online. So half of them don't even know they're on the roster. Some of them do. But I was like, I might as well just ask them when
Well, you made it. You should text them and be like, hey, you're on my website, just so you know.
I did. But I want to
Make
prove
sure it's okay.
that's what I learned in this course, prove myself first. So instead of like making them, I'd rather call them and say, hey, I have this big gig for you. Do you want it? And if they're like, oh, well, I'm already represented by an agent. And I say, well, that's fine. Moving on. And I go to the next person and I say, hey, this is a $20,000 gig. Do you want it? Are they going to say no? I don't know. Maybe they will if they have an agent, but I move on. It's exactly what I did, in this contractor world. It's exactly what I did as a missionary. Moving on to the next person.
Yeah.
Check you off the list, wipe the dust off my feet. Bye, Felicia. Moving on. So just don't have any time to waste. Like I am on it. So made my little roster and I made the website. I've been working on building it. I'm going to start doing search engine optimization and start ranking this sucker on Google. And I want to have an agency that's well known where people are calling to get speakers, experts and performers and musicians and whoever it might be. And someone is not allowed to be on that agency.
Well, something tells me that he's lost your number. So,
Probably. I'm sure it's blocked. He's probably, I don't know, made my face turn into something else if he ever sees a text come up or something. But so that is, I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to go for it because I've never.
But here's the beauty of it. If it doesn't work, something else will. It's leading you somewhere else, right?
And I'm always like,
in this process, you will find somebody who's meant to help along the way. That's just how it works.
Yeah, it has to. It has to. Because I keep thinking that I'm wandering aimlessly and just trying all these side gigs. But no, I have to tell myself, no, it's moving to something. It's moving in the right direction. I'm just taking these little steps the right way. And so Carley and I had the chance to go this week and to a networking party. And now they're wrestling in here. These stinking dogs. Oh my gosh, I cannot get away. This is unreal. They're just wrestling in this room. Like, they can wrestle outside, but they have to be on top of me to do it. It just drives me crazy. They have to be where I am. So I'm sorry if you can hear the growling. I hope you don't. But you guys see them?
I think I hear the clinking of their collars more than anything.
And get them out. Yeah, that's what's so annoying. Take Mabel and get her out of here. Okay, hang on, guys. I got a call. Okay, I'll help you in just a second. Guess what? I'm like on a podcast live. Okay, bye. Now she's trying to get in the camera. Can you take her and go out and shut the door for me? Thank you.
That's the reality.
Yeah, because I'm not going to edit this. Ain't nobody got time to edit that out. Just close the door, Kay, because I can't.
I have noticed a lot of podcasts that I listen to, they'll say recently it's been like, we're going to edit this out, right? We're going to do this. And nobody ever edits anymore.
Yeah, it's just,
no.
It takes such unnecessary time. I don't care. And I hope none of you do either, because this is real life. Dogs, kids. She wanted to tell me that her knee was hurting because it got scratched. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you have to come and open the door to tell me that. What? And I even said to them, you guys, I'm podcasting upstairs in the closet. I put Beauty and the Beast on so they could watch a movie right in time for Disneyland. And no, they all have to come in here. They have to be where I am, look at what I'm looking at, see what I'm seeing. It just drives me nuts. Anyway, so we made some connections there. Carley was a beast. She was just going around and just networking like a boss, just like, hey,
I got a couple leads for you.
You did. She totally did. And she got me connected to someone who happens to be connected to somebody that was like the president of the Mountain West chapter of speakers, as well as on a national agency or something of speakers. And so she's like, let's get you.
I'm telling you, this is how God works. He just, like, I was in the right place at the right time and I just said to my friend that found me there what we were doing. She was like, oh, I should introduce you to so-and-so. And I was like, okay, it was very little work. It's just, that's how I know that we're doing something. It doesn't always work out the way I think. Like, my son was thinking about switching schools to a private school last year. And as we were looking into it and doing the interviews and stuff, people that I ran into at Costco were parents there. And, like, it just kind of felt like there were a lot of things leading us to go there. And then when it just didn't feel right, I was like, but why doesn't it feel right when all of these people that usually would make me feel like it's lining up to work out that way, it isn't. And I just thought maybe it was the Lord, like, putting these people in my place a little bit to, like, tell it, like, to what's what I'm looking for, like, when it didn't work out, to, like, ease the burn a little bit, to prepare us a little, kind of like when I miscarried, I had those little signs along the way that something was going to happen that wasn't good. So it doesn't always lead to, just because we made these contacts doesn't mean that it's going to be a blaring success right away.
But the difference is we're following whatever we think it might be.
Right. And the Lord put that in your lap.
Yeah.
Like, literally just like, here you go.
Yep.
So
nothing to lose. So I was going to say also, it keeps reminding me of Field of Dreams. I love that movie with Kevin Costner. You were saying, ease his pain. And if you build it, they will come. And I keep thinking that. I'm like, that's got to be a thing. And so I talked to him, and, he happens to be a psychologist. And he was like, he's like, so now why do you want to talk to me? Tell me about you first. And so I told him about myself, and knowing that he was a psychologist, I was like, hey, I'm going to take off their collars so it's not so loud. Then you can't hear the tingling, the clinking.
Yep.
So, he just said, knowing that he was a psychologist, I'm like, I got to give him some context and some background as to why, like, I have landed here, instead of just saying, hey, I want to have speakers and have my own agency. Well, this is why. This is the experience that I have in it. My husband left us. I have gone from one thing to the next, all, I think, culminating to this, and maybe something else, but this is the next step I'm going to attempt and try. And I hear that you have a lot of speaking experience, and you know a lot of speakers. And if I can get a hold of them, or if at least I can get a hold of the event planners, then I can be the go-to person to book them. And then I can just make some money, because I cannot heal. And he said this, he's like, you can't heal in an environment where there's constant stress, constant load, constant financial pressure, constant heartache, and breaking points, because the resentment is still brewing, and the resentment and the pain and the bitterness is still, like, being harbored. And I don't want it there. It's not like I mean for it to be there, but it is hard to, like, help it all dissolve when I'm constantly panicking. because that
Well,
only leads
you're
you back to the, ew, you did this. You know what I mean?
well, it's until you're actually in your yacht, you're still on the door and your toes are in the icy water, right? And so all you can think of is that damn pilot of the ship, whatever you call them. What are they called?
Captain.
Captain, yeah. Who hit the freaking iceberg? Like, could we not have hit the iceberg? Is that too much to ask? And so you're still with your toes burning, trying to figure
Yeah.
out what to do.
Yes.
So I think, of course, you need to get your whole body out of that ocean, and then you can finally warm up and
Uh-huh.
heal and
Uh-huh.
build that yacht and cruise away and not have a care in the world about
Right.
anything in the past. Like, the past is the past. The iceberg is probably melted by now by,
But yeah,
you
but it's
know,
impossible. So for all of you women or anyone out there who is having a hard time forgiving or having a hard time because you feel like
moving
resentment
on.
is running your life and people are saying, why can't you just move on? Why can't you just forgive? Just it's forgiveness is for you, not for him. Well, why can't you just let it go and stop letting it run your life? And why do you keep it just keeps controlling you? Like it's not like we want it to be, but it's a constant painful reminder. I mean, just today I got, which is such a blessing, I got fee waivers approved. Yesterday I got free lunches approved. And yes, people are like, you're so blessed. And I'm like, no, listen, this isn't like, this didn't land in my lap. I sat there and had to apply for it and I had to prove my poverty and I had to show the pay stubs and the financial deprivation. Like I had to prove that I needed this and I need this
Well, and
because
it's not a space you want to be in anyway. It's
no, and
not
I
like you're
feel
sitting in like
no,
a successful place and being like, oh, I won an award, or oh,
no,
no, like
exactly.
I just get my kids eating and
Right.
somebody's
And
helping
it's,
me. You know
yeah,
what I
and it's
mean?
more proof. I know this isn't true, but it's more proof that you're failing or that you're stuck in the
Yeah.
same place. And I know that's not it, but it just feels like that. And I know it does for so many other women who are like, I'm still on WIC. I'm still on food stamps. My husband is still complaining about his job, which has been the same for 15 years and is not willing to stretch himself and go farther, faster and try something, like God has instilled in us this desire to be better and to get to strive for something. I mean, strive is a word that we are taught all the
Yeah.
time in the gospel. Striving, doing your best, trying as hard as you possibly can and not giving up, not throwing in the towel and moving forward and pressing on. That's why,
But not like, let's be clear though, for the women, it's not striving because we think we need to be perfect. It has nothing to do with perfection. But
yeah,
time and time and time again, if you talk to my dad about criminals, people he arrests all the time, and people that we would consider low lifes or whatever, when people are, not reaching anywhere close to their potential, it's because if you don't know that you can do hard things, you don't value yourself. Like, you strive so that you can feel that individual worth, right? It's like, you stop looking at yourself as somebody that you can respect, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
um, what's his face on the Ramsey channel? Dr. John Deloney, that's his name, right?
yeah,
When people call in and he's like, I'm sorry that you're in this place you never thought you'd be in, that you're the person that you never thought you would be, because he doesn't like mince words. He says, start trying to be the person that you want to be. Start, tipping people, start serving people, start, do these things. And then you'll start to believe that you are a good person and living up to that, right? So that's why we strive. It's not because we need perfection. It's so that we can feel that intrinsic value that's in us that we are not recognizing, so that we can then so we can be changed, so we can let the atonement change
well,
us.
and that's what Elder Corbridge was saying, right? So I went off on this self-esteem trend and, oh, everyone's a winner and everyone gets a trophy just for
Mm-hmm.
trying and just for being a part of it. And he's like, no, we're actually nothing. And we actually owe everything that we have and everything that's given to us to God, because everything good in our lives comes from him. And we need to be more grateful and showing our gratitude, because the more that you do that, the more that you believe in yourself and you believe in the power of God blessing you, all these things, like the more, that's when the manifesting, that's when the
That's when you
you
see
are what
the
you
the
think.
blessings.
Yeah, that's when it all comes full circle, which is, I've needed to hear that because I have this very skewed sense of what manifesting is because of who I lived with, and this very skewed perspective of, sorry, this perspective of, if you just think about it, then it will happen. And if you just like put it out there in the universe and you think about positive things and you have positive thinking, and that's why when I talked to this guy, he studies positive psychology, and I was kind of like, ugh, got like a bad taste in my mouth. But he happens to have been in the court system himself. And he's like, it was so dark and so bad that I needed to change my entire way of making money in Korea, yes, to something positive because it was so ugly. I'm like, I've been in it. So what I did want to say about him, he said to me, I want to help you, not only with this new thing you're doing, but I want to help you probably in the counseling department, because he said that he would give me some free sessions, which I was like, great, because I can't pay for therapy. And he's a psychologist. And he said, I want to pay it forward, because God has blessed me so much. And so all I ask is that you pay it forward and that you help others. And I said, well, look, I have a following of some hardcore loyal women, and I got about 150 of them in my freaking phone in a group who are trapped in family court. And until I can get myself free of the debris and free from this freezing cold, submersive like water, and I can be healing myself and feel warm and ready, hot and ready, like freaking Little Caesars pizza, I can get there and start helping these other women and pay it forward to them, because I feel this duty to speak for them because they've been silenced too. And he said,
and they will probably forever be silenced. A lot of them will never be able to tell their story.
Right. And so I'm going to tell it for them, and I'm going to bring attention to it. And I believe, again, a therapist told me that she believes that this is the women's pull, like of in this generation, like in this time, this is the women's pull in the gospel. And if our women and if our mothers are suffering and can't pull the handcart, if they can't get up and guide their children because they're under so much stress and their children are being taken from them and trafficked basically in family court, then our world is gonzo. Like, it is women.
We got to pause here for a second, because I only know the reference that you just made because when I was in high school, in the Seattle area, we did trek, and some areas in Utah still do it, some don't. My little brother and his wife, they just did trek up in Canada. But for those who don't do it as LDS people, because your faith doesn't offer it,
clarify, huh?
Yeah, or for those who are not members, the Pioneer Trek from where they were like it. I just learned this week that it was like 1970 something. It was still legal to shoot and unalive a Mormon in like New York and Missouri, and like yeah, it lasted a long time. I think it was New York for sure. That was in the 70s.
Freaking Governor Boggs.
Yeah, and I think that was Missouri, but I don't know the date on Missouri. Anyway. So,
well, and for people again that don't know, there was an order to exterminate the Mormons.
Yes. Like, so you could exactly, just because you wanted to. Yep. So, but that's why the Saints left and they came to Utah. That's why Salt Lake was established by all of these LDS people, right? And so that trek is the Pioneer Trek. And so a lot of people will kind of like recreate it as a way to
the Pioneer Trek with the youth.
So you'll have parents in the ward in our youth or in our church congregation that will take the youth, and you dress like you're a pioneer and you go do a hard journey through, different terrain, depends on where you are. Yeah. And you pull handcarts. Yeah, exactly. So you eat like the pioneers. I remember, this is such a sidetrack, but it's so funny. In my group, so I've never been like a super smelly person, but I know there are some people who are. And the pioneers did not have deodorant. So on our packing list was not deodorant, but there was chapstick. They had chapstick back then. So there were guys in my
you didn't have deodorant unit that was on that you couldn't bring it.
They didn't have it as pioneers, so they're like, you can't have it. And the boys in my group, they were like, So they literally took chapstick tubes because that was allowed because they had chapstick. And they took out the chapstick in the tube and put deodorant in it.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
I know.
Another sidetrack, so my sister, like, she always laughs in our faces because she's like, you didn't experience a real Pioneer Trek. When I went on mine, we were allotted a cup of water and or like whatever cup you took was the cup that you drank from. And so like this big, because she didn't know, like it was her mess kit.
Your mess kit.
Yeah.
Yep.
She didn't know that whatever she brought was all she got. So she was dehydrated. It was actually really dangerous.
Yeah.
They were dehydrated. They were getting sick. And, you could have leaders saying, well, this is the pioneers, but like,
not anymore.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. So I think part of how they do Trek now has adapted a little bit so that you don't have those harsh, things that
she had to go and like grab chickens and pluck the hairs. Like, Hairs, I mean, the hairs.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
No, we did not. I did not have to do that. We like
I
cooked
know.
in a kettle thing. What are those called?
Yeah,
Like the
the
iron
Dutch
cast
oven.
iron. Yeah, the Dutch oven. There you go. Anyway, but the reason why we're telling you about Trek, it was really cool, and I actually had a total crush on one of the guys in my group, which was it because I was on the younger side and he was on the older side, so that made it more fun. I don't think I ever saw him before or after that much, but it made Trek fun to have
He
a
was
cute
a
boy in
hot
my group.
pioneer.
Yeah. But I, having very little understanding of what the Pioneer Trek was really like and the history of it or anything like that, when we were pulling the hand carts, I mean, and I will also preface this with I have a terrible memory. So I don't remember like a ton of things. Sometimes things will spark my memory, but this is an event that I actually remember and think about from time to time because it almost makes me weepy because I remember like pulling the hand cart or pushing, holding on to it. I think I was more pushing than pulling, but um, and we were pushing up the hill, and then all of a sudden the men disappeared, and I was like, wait, what? And that is symbolic of when the men had to leave to go in the battalion and to that kind of stuff when
It was the
the women were
Spanish
having.
American War or something.
I don't know. I can't remember the history well
It
enough. I
was the
really needed to.
Spanish American something like that. The little war.
They had to have the Mormon battalion, which I think at the time the military for the whole country was 6,000 soldiers, and I think the Mormon battalion at some time had 3,000, if I remember it. I could be totally wrong. I heard that recently on something I was listening to, but they did have husbands and the fathers of their kids, their kids themselves, the older young men, whatever. They had to go and leave
It's like they
their
were
families
drafted.
to go
Yeah.
fight. Yeah, it was like they were drafted, exactly. So all of a sudden we're pushing, and it's like about to be a hill, and so I'm like pushing with all my might, and the men disappear, and it was like confusing to me, but then also it was like the first time in my life that I remember feeling like this, like I am woman, hear me roar, I will do it,
Yes.
like very like I am
Like an
capable.
empowerment.
I don't know where these guys went or what they're doing, but I'm not going to stop. And like I had to like dig from within and actually make it happen. And I don't know for the people sitting watching if it was hilarious, if we were really pushing as hard as fast as we thought that we were, but it was a moment that I remember feeling unprepared but also prepared. You know what I mean? Like I was unprepared to see those men go and what it meant, but when push came to shove, I could do it. I was pushing. I was like, we don't need those men. We could do it.
Yep.
Did I want them? Yes. Did we need them? No, we did it.
Yeah.
And
So
so
yeah. In my experience, we're pulling this thing, but it's the hardest part of the whole trek because it's
yeah, that
uphill and then it's
exactly. It
in the
was up a
wind.
hill. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And we had
So I
sisters.
like that analogy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I did too. I loved it and I've never forgotten it. And so I don't know if for you, but when we did the women's pull, they call it, we had to do it in silence. Did they have you guys do that?
I think so. I
Yeah,
think
I
it
don't know
was
why, but I mean, and then,
because
some
it
of
was
those,
somber.
yeah, and some of those men never returned and,
Yeah.
and these women are pulling these handcarts by themselves and they're pushing and they're giving it everything they've got. And they literally, and I did too, we girded up our loins, which means you take your skirt or whatever the long linen that, that you're wearing, and we pulled it up and like tied it in a knot around the crotch. So you
Got
have,
to work.
yeah, so you've got pantaloons. So you've got pants instead of
Mm-hmm.
a skirt that you can actually push in. I remember one of the Portuguese sisters next to me, she couldn't take the silence anymore. And I'm like, I understand. I understand now. So instead of like talking, she let out this huge, like grunting, groaning, like roar
Mm-hmm.
to push it up. And then it gave us all this like, oh, this Xena kind of
Like having a baby.
Amazon. Yeah, exactly. Because it does get primal. There's this
Yeah.
print because I had this like primal grunting and like, when you are pushing. And so what I mean by that, when I say the women's pull,
It was reverent. I want to say that before you
yeah,
move on. I feel
yes,
like the silence because I like the analogy. When I said I liked the analogy, it wasn't just that they did that on Shrek. It's your analogy. I love when you said it's like the women's poll right now because I feel like when you talk about spiritual warfare, there's a lot of different congregations and a lot of Christian traditions that are coming out and saying this is good against evil. This is not left versus right or whatever. Right? This is good against evil, and uh, that is we need to have reverence for things that are spiritual, right? It adds gravity and it adds like reality, like truth. It's not just in the movies. Like this is real, and we need to, like, I don't know a better word than reverence, because it's
No, that's
respect,
the perfect
but it's
word. Yeah.
also
Sacred.
acknowledging, yeah,
Yeah.
it's sacred, but acknowledging that it's real, and that we need to give everything we have to this very real spiritual fought battle that also requires some physical fight, right? Like our spirit and our body are uniting to fight.
Yeah.
And that, so it's our soul, right? We're fighting this battle with our whole soul. And you calling this time in our history of the world the women's poll, I think is so good, because there's that quote, I need to memorize it, that talks about how we need women right now.
Yeah.
You know that quote?
Well, are you talking about the one from President Nelson?
I think so.
Or is it a different one? I mean, I can
No,
probably. Oh, well, he talks about how we need to hear women speak up and speak out. We need their advice. We need their opinions. Maybe you're thinking of a different one.
it's like we need women who are um like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Faithful in the gospel. Is it that
yeah,
word?
it's like, yes, it's like faithful, and instead, I don't remember the words he uses though, but instead he uses like words that are applied more to the world, and
Yeah.
then he has the opposite adjective for what
Yes.
we need.
Yes.
We basically need to be less worldly,
Uh-huh.
and carry some of the weight, because we're capable. And I think that what you're seeing with the sister missionaries right now is that very thing, where women hit people in a way that men can't,
Yeah.
and we're very needed. It's
And
not necessarily
men's
our
hearts are failing them.
responsibility.
I mean, and it's not all
Yes,
men, but more men's hearts are
women's
failing
hearts are
women.
failing them for sure. You're
Yeah.
seeing it with women too, and I think Satan attacks women on purpose, because whole families
100%.
fall when you get the mom to fall. Whole families go.
Right,
So
because she leads the family. And they say, I think it was President Oakes that said, I mean, we hear this all the time, but the only other place more sacred than the temple is your home.
mhm.
And if
I
all,
don't even think it's. I think that the quote is, it's as sacred as the temple, which to me is huge, because what we do in the temple um, spans eternity, right? The things that we do in the temple are not just things that affect us here, but they affect us forever. And to say that our home has the same impact, that it's that sacred, is huge. What we're doing on our homes impacts the rest of eternity.
yeah,
That's huge.
yeah.
That's like the quote that says, the hand that it's like the hand that changes the future is the one that rocks the cradle, or something like that. Like,
I mean, and that's not even a church quote. Everybody
no, it's
knows
not.
it because the
Yeah.
world changes when women are successful, when women feel
When they're
like
good
they
stewards.
contribute. Yes. I mean, I just was watching, like I said, Beauty and the Beast downstairs with the kids for the first time, which if you're watching or if you're listening, I got little 5-year-old Naoma with me. But I was just watching Beauty and the Beast, and Gaston says to Belle as she's reading and saying, "There's not much more. There must be more than this provincial life.
Oh yeah.
Just watch, I'm going to make Belle my wife." Remember that part? Anyway, and then he says, "What are you doing, Belle? You're reading a book?" And she's like, "Yes, I'm reading a book." And he's like, "Don't women shouldn't be reading. Basically, they should be serving us, and they should be,
Yeah. In the
massage my
kitchen.
feet. Yeah, get in the kitchen." And it was starting to rage as I'm watching Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, this is great. We're teaching our kids. Luckily, Belle can't stand Gaston, but I'm like, this is ridiculous.
That's the whole point. And they make his character one that you hate for that reason, is
Right.
because it's teaching young women that's not the case. In fact, this is what I studied in college, so I will chime in here and tell you that studies show that the most successful families are the ones where moms have an education. Like, not that you go and use it outside of the home. It has
Yes.
nothing to do with your occupation. But
But
the
you're
best
educated.
moms are the ones that educated themselves,
It makes sense. And
right?
so, I mean, and back to the women's poll, and then we'll close this because I don't know how long she'll last or she'll bug me again, huh? But it was
You'll
the
never
only,
bug us. Look at the wait. Stop. Appreciate those dimples. Come on now.
she's just got
Such a cute
one
little dimple right
right
there.
here,
Yeah, it's
one
so
on the
cute.
left cheek. But it was the one of two times that I have ever seen my dad cry was when we reached the summit on
Oh.
the women's poll because it's inspiring. And if I
Mm-hmm.
can do that, if I can be successful in my own home, taking care of my own needs and the needs of my children and my own, house and things that are broken and insurance and all the things that we all have to pay for, if I can do that and I don't have to panic every month, then I can use the things that I've learned and the money that I've made. Oh, okay. And I can change the world. by helping other women be able to lead their families and almost liberate them. And that's what I loved about what
Well,
the doctor said. Before I forget,
yes.
he said, I feel like it's a duty to help be like a minister to you. I was like, what?
Hmm.
And he meant like kind of like a, home teacher. He's like, I want
Yeah.
to offer some of my services because I believe that I've been told to feed my sheep. He said, but sometimes we have to feed the shepherds. And I was so honored, because I felt like he was, you know, making me sound
He
like
was,
the leader. You know
yes,
what I mean? And
yes.
that I can hopefully, if he can help to feed the shepherd, like not that I believe myself, but I can then help other women.
Well, I think that what I was going to say earlier is it is important to feed the shepherd. I love that line too, because the shepherd is no good to anybody if they're laid up sick or if the lion eats them, like you gotta take care of the shepherd too. But I think what makes your situation so unique and important is that you are the shepherd of these women who need you, but you also have these sheep in your home. And the point that I want to drive home is because most people listening to this podcast, they're not going to go, and they don't have the resources or even the ability or the like, they're not situated to go and reach 150 other women right now.
Yeah, I feel a
But if
duty.
you have but if you have one or two children in your home, it doesn't matter how many you have, but if you have a child, like, that is the goal. That's how you change the future. That's how you lead. That's how you change the world. You can change the world through your child that you're raising, and making them have, instead of a false sense of pride, a real sense of pride, and letting them struggle and learn what they're capable of, and help them succeed through work and not manifesting. You know what I mean? Like, helping them develop the skills that will really help them. It's like, teach a man to give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for his life. It's that kind of thing. As a mom, if we're teaching our children how to fish, we will be the kind of successful that we really aim to be. And then if you can go and help the 150 other people as a shepherd, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But for
At
all
the end
the,
of the
the
day,
women listening, it's so important just to do what's in your home. Just be the shepherd to those in your home.
because eventually this little lady will have her own kids and hopefully be able to say, well, my mom told me and my mom showed me and my mom helped me with whatever it is, because that's the goal,
Or my mom, like, what she has to do that's hard won't look the same as what you have to do that's hard. But she can, I mean, like, you talk about your ancestor that was kidnapped by the Native Americans, right? She's
Yeah.
not, you weren't kidnapped, but you're having to do very hard things. And you look to that ancestor and say, well, if she can do that, I can do this. And
That's where grit
Naoma
came
will do the
from.
same thing.
That is where Gritty Mamas came from,
Yeah.
is finding the resilience and the strength and knowing that if they can do it, like, I'm not going to be the one to throw in the towel. I want to make them proud. I want Heavenly Father to know that He can count on me to keep being a missionary, to build the kingdom of God. And I do that first right here,
Yep. And she'll
and
do it
then,
too.
yeah. And once they're taken care of, hopefully I can use the excess. There better be excess to help fund other women who are trying to do the same thing, but can't. Because I have been in the can't. I've been there. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you were as inspired as I have felt always with Carley. And sorry for the loud noises from the dogs and the water and the
Oh, I thought
little.
you were going to say, sorry for having Carley here for those who don't like
Stop
her.
it. No. I
I was
know
just
you guys
laughing
want to hear.
after those last
Okay,
comments on the
so
last.
for the little bit of juice that I'll give you, let's see. An agreement. She wants to show you her nails. An agreement that, yep, they're so pretty. An agreement
So
has
pretty.
been signed. So I now
Yes.
have I always had sole physical custody, and I have now sole legal custody. So I can freaking make the decisions and not have to ask permission for something I've been doing for 18
You
years.
have, that means you have passports. That means that every time you go to the dentist or the doctor, you don't have to report or keep track of anything, or
They can't say, "Oh, Your Honor, she made a unilateral decision to get a
his
tonsillectomy."
appendix out.
Yes. Oh my gosh, and there's so many women that are getting, like the lady whose kid was in the dryer that the dad turned
Yep.
on, right? And she took the kid to
Yep.
the doctor, and he's like, "You made a unilateral decision to take the kid to the doctor for the problem that he had caused to begin with." So anyway, I have sole legal, sole physical. I have the possession of the passports. I have the house. it belongs to me. We ended up exchanging support that was in the arrears for equity in the house. So I own the house free and clear. And
I mean, you own the mortgage.
true. That's very true.
But let's take that. When
I'll
you
take
sell the house, the profit is yours, and that's
Yeah.
what's important.
Yep. That's exactly right. So he doesn't get any equity. His equity has been eaten up in back pay, which is so pathetic. And I also have, there was something else I really wanted that I demanded. Anyway, there's just a little bit of that that I'll share for those, and then we can talk more about that in an upcoming podcast when things aren't as fresh and we're not as afraid to speak crap on the petitioner.
No, we'll never speak crap. Only truth. We're trying to not be gossipy. I think that's why people don't like me.
It is. It's just freaking the truth. It is the truth and nothing but the truth. Like I haven't tried to exaggerate. I may exaggerate my emotions, but like the things that I have shared are things that have happened. It is not my maybe it is. I don't feel like I'm being biased to myself. Like I am.
It's your thoughts, your feelings on facts that have occurred.
Yes. Thank you. That's exactly what it is. And they are facts and they have occurred. And he'll share them in a different way, but I'm giving you the truth.
He's welcome to.
Yeah, go ahead. He's the one that wanted this to be free speech. Like, let us just say whatever we want to say. That was his idea. His attorney said, well, why don't we just let them say, the parties say what they want to say? And I was like, done. Because I am sick of being accused of disparagement, bro. Sick and tired of it. So
I don't think that you knew when you signed that, and that the attorney knew when he came up with that, how far that would go. Like, not like how far you would take it, but like that you would be able to speak up for so many women who can't speak for themselves. Like, it's not just about you like releasing or you feeling understood or whatever. It's about you being able to talk about principles and like actual truthful events, things going on around.
it's not just me that it's happened to.
Right, exactly. But they cannot speak.
Like, this is not like some special, unique story. Like, no, I have just been one of thousands upon thousands of women dealing with the same bullcrap in the family court system with corrupt attorneys and corrupt judges and men and sometimes women that accuse a bunch of nonsense.
And they get away with it because of these gag orders. And so when you're, now that you're not gagged, it's like, I think that they probably were like, oh, this might not go well for the petitioner, but I don't think they realize that like you would be so driven to speak out for women in general.
And all I can say is President Nelson said, speak up and speak out. He said it word for word. And I'm freaking going to. I will not be silenced. And Naomi just said, are you almost done? So yes, we will end this. Thank you for listening.
We will be silenced, but not by men. We will be silenced by children.
Yeah.
It's always, it's like when we're at Costco or whatever, and they're like grabbing your hand. We gotta go, Mom. We gotta go. That's my life.
I stand corrected. She owns me.
You will be silenced.
Just not by a man.
And on that note,
goodbye. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.